everybody.
I'm just gonna stay live while I finish this.
Oh, it's not done.
It's very close.
Oh,
I'm
see
just
it.
gonna add some background to it, I think. You know what? I'm just gonna put a flat color on it, and that'll be good enough.
Did you guys both get Twitch Turbo?
No.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, you didn't get it on the E3 thing sale.
Nah, I'm lazy.
I got
Are
a-
you gonna
I
give
got a
me
couple
some
keys.
added value?
The Twitch Turbo is really nice, actually.
I
Right?
believe it.
Yeah, it's like no ads and get Kappa HD.
I haven't used the Kappa HD. I need to drop at least one of those before my thing runs out.
Yeah, get some Kappa HDs going and mini Kappas.
I don't
Yeah, I
know
like
the
mini
reason
Kappa.
for mini Kappa, really. It's like so you don't see it?
I think it's like you're being sarcastic, but also you're like meta sarcastic. It's like double levels of
Oh
sarcasm.
man, I don't even understand that. I like it
Yeah.
though.
I've seen it used appropriately. It's hard to explain.
That's okay. That's
There's
okay.
new Steam sales.
His lips are too
Are there?
pink. Oh, I gotta make his lips less pink. You're right.
What team are you guys on?
I'm on Team Pink like you are.
Yeah.
I didn't pick a
That's where
team
it's
yet.
at. You gotta pick a team. Why is red like losing so hard?
Yeah, I know, right?
Kind of want to
It's
join
just
Team
a-
Red.
That can't be
That's what-
random.
Yeah, it's like it's supposedly random, but I mean Team Red. Like maybe Red is like I spent $100,000 on Steam so far or something.
Wow.
Except that's a lot of people. That's like 163,000 people that did that.
Lips are too pink.
Jesus.
Yeah, it'd be hardcore. What are the new Flash sales?
The Naruto game.
Oh wait, I might want that.
Ooh!
I might want
Naruto
that.
Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 3 Full Burst.
Hang on.
Live the fourth great ninja war and its overpowering boss fights, or defy your friends in ultra-dynamic
shit.
online and offline ninja confrontations.
Dude, it's $10. That's a good deal.
Yeah, you know, I really just don't even like anime at all. But those games actually look kind of awesome.
Yeah?
It's on my wish list. I might buy that.
Explosions and stuff. I think I'm gonna buy that actually.
Does it have multiplayer, Rob?
Yeah, I think so.
Shit, man. I might have to stream some Naruto games later.
I'd do it.
I'll play Rock Lee.
Yeah,
Good,
all right. That's a character
It's like
from that.
where my name came from.
Mm-hmm.
Anno 2070 is $750.
What
Castlevania
is
Lords
that?
of Shadow 2 is $45.
That's weird.
Huh. That's a flash sale.
Yeah.
That's like an Activision sale. Like, hey, Call of Duty,
Call of Duty.
2% off. Just reminding you that we're selling it.
You're welcome.
Well, right now, you could get the original Call of Duty for 25% off.
That's a bad deal.
That is a really bad deal. I mean, well, but like, how much are they? They're probably still selling it for like $40 too.
The original Call of Duty is normally 20, so it would be 15.
Okay.
Actually, they're all 15 until Black Ops. No, wait. Yeah, they're all 15 until Black Ops.
That's not bad. I mean,
Black
the
Ops
original
is
Modern
30.
Warfare, original Modern Warfare is still worth $15, if even for the single player. But I know I don't know if Nick does, but I know you don't play the single player in the Call of Duty games.
I do.
Nah, but I heard that the single player in that one is actually really good.
It is really good. Like there's like a couple levels that are just really interesting. They're like kind of I don't want to say
Don't
gun
say it.
homey.
You're gonna
Yeah,
spoil the whole thing, Rob.
Well, no, I'm just saying like they're you don't have any control over the character
Wait.
really.
Did you
Or,
just
like, you
compare
have
Call of
minimal
Duty to
control.
Gone Home?
Okay, yeah, that's why I said I didn't want to say it.
You
But-
said it though.
I did say it. I did. It
What are you
happened.
doing?
It happened. But you know, like you know what I'm talking about, like the one where you're getting dragged through the streets, and then the one like after the thing happens, and you're in the city, and then all the things are
Dude.
happening.
You're gonna spoil the fact that you get dragged through the streets and Gone Home on top of it?
Yeah, it's just before the ghost comes in.
Hate that ghost. It
That's
gets me
what-
every damn time I play it.
Did you guys play Lords of Shadow? Is that
I played the original one and I liked it.
yeah?
I have the second one. I'm gonna stream it eventually, but I didn't yet.
Hmm.
I spend too much time drawing pictures of Phil Fish, so I never get around to things.
It looks all right.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's like a character action game based on loosely on Castlevania, and there's like some moments that are kind of like Shadow of the Colossus, where you have to like climb up stuff that's like massive and tear it apart.
That's cool.
It's kind of fun.
Oh, hey, community choice, South Park: Stick of Truth.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
game.
But
That's not the one I voted for, but that's okay.
It's a good
that's a
game.
good game. You guys like
I
that?
like it a lot.
Yeah.
Needed more sex.
Really good. Actually, I did a Let's Play on that, and like the whole last part, I just had to have like a big black bar over the screen
Yeah.
at all times, which is unfortunate. Because like I don't think you're even like I didn't experiment with it. I know you can turn off like the R-rated stuff, but I don't know if that means that they beep out the curse words. Because I don't really want that. I just don't want the nudity.
Right.
You know.
They definitely need to differentiate between nudity and curse words. It's like two different worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that I personally give a shit about either of them, but standards or whatever.
Well, and YouTube.
Yeah,
also.
that's what I mean.
Like, that's the main thing. Oh, I do own Half-Life 2. I thought I didn't own Half-Life 2. I should go back and play Half-Life 2.
Sucks.
Yeah, I really don't like Half-Life 2. I'm not even being sarcastic. It really wasn't that good.
I sort of agree. You know what it is I didn't feel like, even in Counter-Strike Source, like, I didn't really like the Source engine that much.
I don't think it was the engine. It was just the game was just not that good.
Well, it's like, I don't know, the bullets, the impact on the bullets didn't feel very good, and you felt kind of slidey, if you know what I mean.
Maybe? I don't know. Maybe.
Counter-Strike Go feels great, though. So
I like it.
Yeah. Go feels great. I didn't like Source. I should go back and play 1.6, though. I still have that.
I need to add more depth to this guy's eyebrows.
You got some good sideburns going on there, Nick.
Thanks. I worked real hard on him.
Yeah. I like them.
I'm just going to run little rivulets of darker color through his eyebrows.
I like the choice of pink for his lips.
I've been working on the lips. Do you have any suggestions? I want them to look better than this.
You add a little orange.
Yeah, the thing is the picture's like very orange, so it's tough to tell what the actual color is.
Right. If you use the spray tool. No spray tool.
I don't use that style. I'm not a spray tooler.
If you make it real small.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to use the spray tool.
And well, I guess people are still. Hey, you're still streaming, so hey, everyone in Nick's chat, XCOM, like, get that.
They all have XCOM. They all have it.
Do they?
I think so, yeah.
It's really good.
His eyebrows
I
look
can't
like
say that
almonds.
everybody owns XCOM.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Do you know anyone that doesn't? Shout out their
Fuck.
names, see? You don't have the data to back this up, man. You can't make these claims.
I mean, and then also there's that one mod that people keep
The
telling me about.
Never-Ending War mod, or whatever it's called.
No, I think that's FTL. But there's
What is it?
Long
This
War?
bullshit.
Long
Yeah,
War.
Long War.
Never-Ending, whatever. Same thing.
475 plus hour final day Mario Kart marathon. Are you telling me this motherfucker streamed for 475 hours straight?
That's how you
gotta be
die.
kidding me.
You don't do that.
Is it I assume it's Mario Kart 8?
Yeah. He's part of the casting team, Karting Casters.
Doing a lot of karting, man.
Shit, man, this guy must be super happy when Mario Kart comes out.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's their cycle like? Like, is like
Monthly?
2 or 3 weeks out of every 4 years, they get like a lot of viewership, and then the rest of the time, no one watches.
I'm not even shit talking though. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. Did he sleep on stream? That's what I wonder.
I'm sure they just had like multiple people rotating in and out. Otherwise, that's like 12 Guinness Book of World Records entries at the same time,
There's a
right?
high chance that you would die trying to attempt that.
You probably would die.
Definitely, you wouldn't make it to 475 hours. I'm pretty. Oh, you know what? He does look kind of tired though.
Oh, so he probably did do it then.
475 divided by 24.
Here we go.
Okay. 19 days!
That's actually, it totally lines up with the fact that the game came out on like May 30th.
Shit, man.
Right.
I don't
Yeah,
wanna
they
think
probably
about
did.
this.
Probably started that long ago.
Oh,
Actually,
he and
I'd say-
his wife switch.
Oh. Ooh.
Everyone, like half the people in chat are like, "You telling me this fucker's been playing for 475 hours straight?" Oh, you know what it is? Every 8 subs is plus 1 hour. It's pretty fun.
So he's like
Wait.
set now, right? Until
That's pretty
until
funny.
he doesn't stream for 2 days and then they're all gone.
So why they? Yeah, so I guess they literally stopped at 475 because the hype for Mario Kart 8 has died down that much.
Well, he's at 482.
Wonder how many
my
subs
God.
he has.
8 subs per hour. That's like 4,000 subs almost.
Holy shit! Holy shit!
Jesus. That's a
Oh my
lot of
god!
money.
I know what that money is. That's crazy.
That's a lot of money.
That's pretty good for him.
Yeah. Holy cow. Yeah, but I mean, like, how many
Raoul
people
cow.
are gonna re-up?
Not me.
It's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, still though, like that's
Yeah. Right.
yeah, like that's still pretty good for to get. It's not. Is it against the law to say how much? I think that's known, right? Like how much
We're
you
allowed
get
to say
for a couple
that.
subs?
We're even allowed to say
Okay.
how many subs we have.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you get half. So I mean, that's like $8,000. Well, I guess like
4,000 would be 10.
$10,000. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So like, I mean, $10,000 for 20 days work. It's pretty good.
That's all right. Yeah.
Like
It's like one
that's-
Isaac episode, but it's pretty
Yeah,
good.
well, not everybody has these opportunities.
It's like a third of an Isaac episode.
That's true. That's why ever
be
since I
honest.
started putting 4 mid rolls per Isaac episode. I don't actually do that.
I don't know
Yeah, it's
why people do. It's like incentivized. Actually, I saw a streamer, and I forget who it was. I think it was like just some popular YouTuber who does Twitch because whatever, another revenue stream, and then but they had it set so that they rolled ads every 8 minutes because you can do that.
Oh, like
And they-
automatically.
Yeah, automatically,
Oh,
like through gameplay and
that
stuff.
sucks.
That really
Yeah,
is bad.
Well, and like not only does it suck, but it's like you're literally incentivizing ad block. I don't know why. Like,
Yeah.
especially in that case, I understand why people would use ad block. Like I understand normally as well, but
That's very
especially in that
disruptive.
case, yeah.
Man, was it? Do you know if it was 3 minutes of ads per 8 minutes? Because that would be hilarious.
I don't think it was at least. I'm
That
pretty
would be
sure. Yeah,
mental, basically.
that'd be pretty fucked up. Yeah, because then you get like 5 minutes. That's like worse than television.
That's
That's
especially because you get the same
stuff.
ad every single time.
Oh my god, that's awful.
That is the worst part. It really is. I wish they could somehow figure out a way to make it so that you don't get the same ad over and over again. But it's probably just that like advertising companies are not, jumping at the chance to do that.
Yeah.
Man, you think you'd get tired of Mario Kart?
I really
You
like
know?
Mario Kart.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I've played it twice since it came out. Not
really?
like mostly because I have no interest in racing against the AI, so I just wait until we have like people over or the mood strikes Kate and I to play. But yeah,
That's only been twice.
yeah, basically,
Yeah, I mean,
it's good though.
it looks great. I mean, it looks really good, legitimately, really good. Me though, I don't know if I like Mario Kart enough to pay $60 for it. It looks really good.
Yeah, and it'll be at 60 for a while, I'm sure.
Yeah.
For like almost probably until the new probably until the new Mario Kart comes out. I don't even know if it's gonna drop. You probably just get a
Next
used
console.
copy. Yeah, yeah, probably. Yeah, then it goes up. I saw this article of like toys that you had as a child that are worth more money now, or like lots of money now. Apparently, these Power Rangers action figures that I had that we threw out like when I was younger. I had like the whole set. They're each worth like $4,000 now.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, so it threw out like
Sorry,
$20,000. It was basically like it took if there was a suitcase of $20,000, I just threw it in the incinerator.
Dude, you could have had a suitcase with $20,000 in it. That would have been badass.
Yeah, I mean that's what you'd do with the $20,000, obviously.
You could have done like a game show, like had it hidden somewhere in New York City, and then had people like run around and take taxis everywhere just to get that money.
Yeah,
You could have been pulling all the strings.
I'd watch that.
It's a real show, I think.
I know it's like a cash cab, right?
No,
But they only give. Oh,
something
I thought
else.
oh. Well, there's like a cash cab. I think they do that. It's like when they
I
have
know.
those fake ad breaks on HBO, and then they
No,
do
that's
that.
Taxi Cab Confessions. That's where they talk about
Oh,
your
okay.
sex life in a cab.
Yeah, that one gets weird because like how many people really do crazy shit in cabs?
I threw up in a
Look.
taxi twice.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was in Korea.
bet.
The dude was super pissed.
I bet he would
I
be.
think.
I think.
Wait, now
like-
that.
I was just
Sorry, it sounds
really
like you did it
drunk,
twice
and
in
then-
one time. Mm.
Oh no
I'm sorry.
no.
Oh.
No, these were two separate occasions, separated by less than 12 months.
Oh, sorry. The call cut out, so I cut you
Oh,
off.
I'm gonna bounce anyway. I think my internet's going. But
Okay.
Okay.
Later.
All right.
Talk to you later, man.
Thanks for having me
Oh,
on.
of course.
Yep. Peace. Yeah.
I'm still here.
What? Yeah. Yeah. No, the taxi cab confessions. Yeah, that's weird. Actually, you ever watch Real Sex?
Yeah, I did actually. That was a pretty cool show.
Yeah, I remember watching that when I was a kid, like, because, you'd stay up late at
Yeah, there
night.
wasn't a lot of beat material back then.
Yeah, yeah. Which
You
is
had to
weird
take
to
what you
say,
could
because,
get.
like, yeah, it's weird to say, because, like, kids these days.
Oh, you don't know how
uh,
good you have it, man. You have
Yeah,
the
you
entire
really
world at
don't.
your fucking fingertips. We didn't have that shit. We had to like tape shit on VHS.
Hmm. I remember
Sad
when we
world.
didn't have the internet at all. Forget, like, internet porn.
No, the very first, remember the very beginning of internet porn though?
Oh, yeah, it was the worst.
56K for a photo that took like 20 minutes to load, and it's like, this is gonna be it, man. This is the last
Yeah,
picture I ever need. I'm done
yeah.
after this.
This is terrible. I remember the first one that I saw, actually, or the first porn image that I, like, specifically looked up. And what it was like a lady, I think it was like a stripper, and she had like cowboy boots on and a cowboy hat and nothing else. And I remember letting it load and like hearing my mom in the other room because like the computer
Oh
was in the other
shit.
room.
It's like that
Yeah.
hacker moment where you're like, I'm trying to steal the files and the thing won't transfer fast enough.
The files are in the PC. But yeah, no, exactly that. Like I didn't even do anything. It was like before I could or knew how to jack off or anything. But I remember looking at it like, oh my god, she's naked. And then I closed it. And nothing happened.
That's awful. All that work for nothing.
I know. You want to hear the story of when I first saw a vagina? Not in real life, but I mean,
You told me this story before. It's up to whether or not you want to tell my audience that.
I'll tell your audience. It's pretty funny. But so like I was like 7 or 8 maybe, and I would like elementary schools have their play yard or whatever, concrete schoolyard, and I go there and play whatever, just play on the
Yeah.
jungle gym
You
and
should
stuff like
say you're
that.
in the city too, because I think that kind of changes the context a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, I am. I am in New York City, so like there's a lot of people all over the place all the time, and that park actually is especially packed too. So like I'm just walking around because my parents. I was at the age like 8. The parents could just be in the park and not really keep their eye on you at all times, kind of thing. So I was just kind of walking around.
Right.
And I'm walking and I'm walking near this flagpole, and then these kids who are probably in high school, looking back, walk up to me. Who's like, "Hey kid, you want to see something?" And they open up this porno magazine, and it's like a full spread on 2 pages. And I mean
Spread.
that in both senses. Yeah, I mean that in both senses of the word. It's just a lady just opening up her vagina.
It's
And
called a vulva, Rob. Get it right?
she opened her vulva.
That's what it is.
But so yeah, she's just spreading her legs apart, and the thing that I remember most is I remember looking at it and seeing that her pubic hair was fashioned to look like the lightning bolt from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
That's awesome.
That's what I remember. Yeah,
That's so they could relate to a younger demographic.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, and so I saw that and was and it was weird because I was like, all right.
What do I do with this?
Yeah, I just walked away. It was like, oh, okay, cool. See ya.
Maybe in 6 hours my entire life will be different. Let's see.
Yeah, that was weird. That's like, I guess that was like, those kids, if they grew up now, would just be internet trolls.
Yeah, I
They were-
guess so. Yep.
They're just real life
They
trolls.
just didn't have a way to do it back then.
Yeah.
What a strange thing to do. I can't imagine ever doing that.
Yeah. It's kind of fucked up a little bit.
Like, let's just like take this child's innocence right here.
I mean, it's not terribly different, I'd imagine, from like, going into a League of Legends tournament stream that has like 100,000 people and like spoiling the next episode of Game of Thrones. It's just like, hey, I took an experience away from you, fucker. Suck it.
I was hoping you weren't going to mention that, because now people are kind of going to be trolls on my chat. But anybody that trolls Game of Thrones shit, you immediately get a permanent ban. I
Yeah, you're
actually
banned forever.
respect people wanting to not be spoiled on that show, because I like it a bunch.
I Eat Cereal says, Mighty Morphin Pubic Rangers.
Yeah,
I could get behind
that's the
that.
type of rangers that they are.
I'd watch that.
There's definitely some kind of porn about it, which is real weird.
Yeah, I never really thought about it. I should look that up.
Got to be some Rule 34 for that.
Yeah. And I mean, it would be an orgy, too. Except it'd be like 3 dudes and 2 girls. So. Huh. Yeah. You know what's weird too is I remember like getting a little bit older and seeing the Power Rangers, and like it's weird to me that no one thought, like not a producer, not the casting director, not the screenwriter, not the directors on each show, not the actors. No one thought to say, hey, maybe we shouldn't make the Black Ranger black and the Yellow Ranger Asian.
Right.
Like,
That's really strange to me as well, yeah.
like, maybe that's not a good idea. And then I think after, like, the first season, they changed them out anyway, because they...
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, they changed out 3 of them, but they changed out the Red Ranger and the Black Ranger and the Yellow Ranger, and I think they really just changed out the Red Ranger. So
there was
it
a
was
Pink
like,
Ranger, too, that was a girl, which is, like, even more saying that they were into, like, reinforcing stereotypes.
Yeah, that's true, too.
I mean, maybe she liked pink, and that's fine. It's just like, since we've noticed this trend with the other characters, that just seems likely that that's why.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what the hell the putties were about? I still don't understand what putties are.
You know,
and why they shoot sparks out of them.
Here's the putties, right? So the premise of the original series, or like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, is that Rita Repulsa had this machine that you'd make a clay sculpture and put it in the machine, and it would become like a sentient monster.
That's the link. That's the information I needed right there. You just handed it to me like it was nothing.
Exactly. They're just clay. They're clay things.
Nobody's been able to tell me that.
Yeah. Here's the next thing, though, that's really weird about putties. So, like, the Power Rangers were fighting the putties for a long time, right? They had the whole first season to fight the putties.
They did it constantly.
Yeah, but then what happens is, like, Rita Repulsa gets trapped in a snow globe by Lord Zed, who comes in.
Right.
And so Lord Zed, you know, he has, like, crazier monsters, and he doesn't eat as much, but he still keeps the putties. But what he does to augment the putties is he makes, like, his insignia on their chest, like a big Z. Right?
That makes sense.
And then, like, okay, that's
claiming
fine, right?
them. They're like foot soldiers for him.
Exactly, yeah. He's like, you know, his own Foot Clan kind of thing, right? So, okay, that's fine. But here's the thing. In his great wisdom as this new great enemy of the Power Rangers, he decided to make that insignia also a button. And what that button does is if you press it, the putties explode.
That's a terrible idea.
It's a terrible design decision. Who thought that was a good idea? If you punch the button, then they explode. Why would you make that?
He's done absolutely no research then about how the Power Rangers work, because all they do is punch and kick.
They just punch things, yeah. Why would you make that? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Know thy enemy. Fucking Lord Zed, man. He's going to be burned to the ground. I can't believe he made it as far as he did.
I know.
Incompetent.
I mean, and here it's like that's almost as bad as Captain Planet actually fighting pollution.
Oh my god, just the globe on his chest.
Yeah, well, but here's the thing about Captain Planet is like this is what makes no sense to me about Captain Planet. Like Captain Planet, great show. Okay, yeah, that's fine. But Captain Planet fights pollution, right? What's his greatest weakness?
Pollution.
Pollution. That's like Superman being like, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to be a kryptonite miner.
Yeah.
Like, who does that? That's a terrible decision. Like, no one with, like, an allergy to cheese decides, hey, I want to devote my life to making and eating cheese. Like, that's a terrible idea.
Well, maybe he thought if he did it enough, eventually he'd develop a tolerance for it or something. And also the pollution has to cover his chest globe, which it does somehow conveniently every episode.
That's true, yeah.
But if he could just stop it from covering his chest globe, like maybe if he put like a vellum sticker over it or something, he'd probably be fine. Like he could just take the thing off his chest globe and then it'd be like, oh, it's clean now.
Yeah. I mean, he could just wear like what they put over couches if they don't want them to get dirty.
Exactly. I'm just imagining like when you buy some kind of new electronic product, like even a new TV or something, like over the screen there's this big plastic sheet and it's just stuck on with static, right? Like he could just stick that shit on his chest globe. And then if it gets dirty, just take it off, and it's like, oh, well, problem solved.
Yeah, that would be a very
easy.
simple solution to his problem.
Yeah.
That'd be extremely simple. They didn't think very far ahead. I mean, not only that on Captain Planet, though. Like, you had like, the 5 kids or whatever that had the special powers that if you combine them, they become Captain Planet. But, like, you'd have, like the fire guy, and he could, like, shoot a flamethrower, and, like, the wind lady, and she can make tornadoes, and the water lady, like, makes a tidal wave and stuff.
Yep.
And then the love guy,
I know.
like, love! And he
I have a monkey.
he summons a monkey. A monkey just appears on his shoulder, and he's friends with a monkey now. It's like, why is that helpful? Who, like, Gaia, like, Whoopi Goldberg, what were you thinking? Like, I get it, love is cool, but, like, come on. Like,
he's the Aquaman of that series, obviously.
He really is. He really is.
I mean, to be honest, though, he kind of balanced out the team, because there were a lot of, like, really strong personalities, and he needed somebody that was a little bit more, you know, kind-hearted to balance them, because otherwise they just get at each other's throats.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
And Captain Planet can't handle that shit. He's emotionally devoid of anything.
Yeah, he didn't even really care.
He had
about
no
kids,
personality at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, in fairness to him, he's, like, functionally a Pokemon. Like, he just comes out to fight.
Yeah, like, what's his deal? Like, when he went inside of his, wherever he came out of, like, what does he do when he's not fighting pollution?
I don't know. Whatever Pokemon do inside the Pokeballs, probably.
Masturbate?
I would think so, yeah.
Like, all over the thing.
He'd probably get a lot of blue balls, though, if that was what he was doing at all times. Because, you know, undoubtedly he would have, you know, be caught right in the middle, like, just right about at the end.
And just about to come. Oh my god, I fucking have to fight pollution again.
Always with the fighting pollution.
Can't you just leave me alone?
Yeah. Phil Fish's latest tweet?
Oh, what is it? Is he watching me right now?
That'd be hilarious. Did he get a Twitter account back?
I heard he just protected his tweets. He didn't actually delete his account.
No, like his account was protected before, like right after the whole thing with the Fez 2, and then he just deleted it once people wrote stuff about his tweets.
Well, it was there though. Like I saw the old tweets as well, so it wasn't deleted.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Like just slightly tangentially.
Yeah.
Cognitive dissonance says he has blue balls all the time. Rob, he's blue.
Oh yeah, good point.
You make a very good point. I hadn't really considered that.
He's kind of like crystalline, so I guess it slipped my mind.
Oh yeah.
Like I thought maybe the blueness was just him, like the way he reacts with light, not that he's actually blue.
He was shiny.
He was a little shiny, yeah.
He could just be covered in baby oil or something at all
Oh
times.
yeah, he's got it in his closet.
Oh, okay, you're just talking about the old tweet. Okay, I get you.
How are we looking right now? Are you guys happy with the Phil Fish drawing? Is it looking okay to you?
I think that looks great.
It's one of my better ones.
Yeah,
I should probably wrap it up soon before this thing just gets out of hand. Because I want to go back and like do every piece of hair properly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just going to take 5 million years. Nobody needs that.
Yeah, it'll take a long time. I feel like I wanted to say something. Oh yeah, okay. This is the one thing. This is one last thing on Captain Planet. So Captain Planet in the first episode, you know, they're getting the kids, and like the fire kid, he's like out in the streets. I think he's like in an alleyway and like he's mugging somebody or something.
Yeah, he was a real badass, wasn't he?
Yeah. Like he was totally fucked up until he became a member of the
he found
Captain
Jesus
Planet team or whatever. Yeah,
right.
Basically. Who was Captain Planet? That's actually the underlying theme of Captain Planet. Is that he's But anyway, so like that happened, and then all the other kids were doing fucked up shit too. So I remember
all of them.
I think so. Yeah, I think they were all kind of they were
a band
bad
of miscreants.
until they. Yeah, basically. But the thing is, the opening lines of Power Rangers, of the Power Rangers theme, Mighty Morphin, Zordon's telling Alpha 5, bring me 5 teenagers with attitude.
They gotta have attitude.
Yeah, but like the kids that they chose totally didn't have attitude. Like they were like totally nice, down to earth kids that even like insulted the bullies that fucked with other kids. Like none of them had any attitude at all, except for Tommy because he was a badass because he was evil. But besides that, like, and he wasn't even chosen initially.
They had good attitude, so, like Sonic.
I guess that's true. Yeah, maybe that's what he meant. Is he just wanted kids with an attitude of some kind.
Some kind of like they're not strongly complacent or apathetic. He wants them to have opinions about things, to be activists.
Right. Okay.
They would have a strong presence on Twitter this day if they were still around.
But yeah, so I always thought that like Captain Planet did it way better because like
he had an attitude, sure.
Yeah, like I feel like the kids from whatchamacallit from Power Rangers, they should have been like, you know, doing drugs or like fighting people in the streets or something, and then Zordon changes their lives and they become heroes. Like that would be a more
oh my god! Can you imagine the White Ranger like found a couple of kids in a bathroom doing heroin, and he's just like, "Fuck you guys! I'm gonna punch you and steal your heroin and do it in front of you."
Oh Jesus Christ! I think it would be more fitting if he was doing coke, though, considering he's the
Well,
White Ranger.
okay, that's fair. You're right.
Yeah. Well, technically, they're like the Green Ranger becomes the White Ranger. So like.
Oh, you just blew my mind. You can't
Yeah,
give me
yes.
spoilers like that.
Well, so actually, yeah, that was like a big thing. Actually, a big cliffhanger at the end of one of the seasons is like.
Was that Gandalf
Tommy,
changing to Gandalf the White from Gray
yeah.
or whatever?
No, actually, kinda, because like what
Yeah.
happens in the show is that like
He dies.
Tommy loses his powers because he has to give them to Zack, the Black Ranger, temporarily in order to save his life, and so he loses all his powers. Or I think also he was just like losing his powers because they were initially evil.
Aren't
His
their
power
powers
coin-
just a watch?
Yeah, well, there's the power coin.
Oh, coin, right.
It's actually the coin itself. The morpher is like you put the coin into the thing. The morpher is like
You put
is the way to
coin into
do
the
things.
thing. Got it.
Yeah. You put the coin into the morpher, and then you evolve.
You put the coin into the morpher, and then you evolve.
Yeah, you digivolve. Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm
So-
clear on the process of how you become a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Put the
Yeah,
coin
yeah, well, so
into the
it's-
morpher, and then you evolve.
Well, the most important thing is that you have to pretend that there's a camera in front of you, and then you have to put your morpher out in front of your
Right.
face, say the animal that your spirit animal, and then you have to take your coin and dramatically fling it over your shoulder and put it into the top of the morpher, and then you can turn into a Power Ranger.
That's because of Sailor Moon, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a Sailor Moon.
That's a Sailor Moon
movie,
reference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but anyway, so what happens is Green Ranger loses his powers, and then Billy is stalking around the Power Rangers base for whatever reason. He's like climbing in the vents, and at the last episode of the season, he sees Alpha 5, like the White Ranger is like laying down on a scientist bed, and Alpha 5 is like poking and prodding at him and like making sparks and stuff, and Billy's like, "Oh my God, there's a White Ranger!"
Shit.
So, yeah.
That's wild.
I do know too much about Power Rangers. You're right, Chet.
Well, you did have that thing on your phone.
Yeah, I really like the Power Rangers.
I'm glad I found the right dude to talk about this with, because otherwise I was never going to know what the putties were about.
Oh yeah, totally. That's
I'm
the whole
relieved,
thing.
honestly, because this has been going on for years now. I think the virus just sent me more stuff. Dead Island franchise pack. Wait. Oh, I had that already. He sent me the Dead Island franchise pack. Now he sent me Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 3 Full Burst. That is a long title, and thank you so much for that, because I actually legit wanted to play that. And now I have it.
That's awesome.
Thank you very much. Again, the virus. You're the best kind of virus.
Yeah, I think yeah, I did buy it. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna install that actually.
This Phil Fish drawing is dedicated to you, the virus.
That's great.
And I'm going to draw more Phil Fish drawings later.
Was that a Macho Man voice for "Oh God, there's a White Ranger"? Yes. Fun fact. What's his name? Stephen Yost, the Blue Ranger.
Yost. I've heard his name before, yeah.
Yeah, he was. He's actually also Macho Man Randy Savage. So
You can be both?
in case you're. Yep. I mean, if you're the Blue Ranger,
Wow.
yeah, you can.
I thought you were like an
Yeah.
either or in that case.
No, you could be both. You could definitely be both. Believe me, I know. I've tried. It's a lot of work.
I've tried.
Yeah.
I have to say, Phil Fish really does have very clean-shaven chin facial hair. There's almost not even any stubble there at all.
Yeah.
It's like a baby's
Yeah,
bottom.
he really knows what he's going for with the full, sideburn deal.
So I've done shadows, but I haven't done highlights, because that's what you need for proper depth. So I'm going to hit up the nose a little bit, and I'm going to do the side of his forehead, and I think we're going to be done.
Grizzonal, no, I did not watch Power Rangers when I was living with Cam. In fact, I would highly suggest that if you have positive feelings about the Power Rangers, like having not watched them in several years, don't go back and watch it. It is a really bad show. Because I'll go back and I'll still watch Dragon Ball Z, because I still fucking loved Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid, and I still like it. Like, I still watch Dragon Ball Z.
That show's
and yeah,
good,
it's
though.
corny.
I like that
Yeah,
show.
like it's corny, but it's still good. Like, it's still fun.
Dragon Ball, I think,
Power-
is like the better show, though. Like, there's actually
Yeah.
messages and stuff in it.
I think okay, I would make a poor analogy, but like sort of bear with me. It's not a totally fitting analogy, but like Dragon Ball is like the Hobbit to Dragon Ball Z's Lord of the Rings. You know,
I mean,
like
I'm
Dragon
with you,
Ball's,
but I don't like that metaphor, but it's okay.
yeah, it's bad. It's not good. It's not good at all. But because it's not fitting. It's not like, yeah, it's not fitting at all. But yeah, Dragon Ball is probably like objectively the better show, but I grew up on Dragon Ball Z.
That's fine.
And I love Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. But I'll go back and watch that. When I've gone back and watched Power Rangers, don't do it. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. Why don't you stream Dota update? Maybe. I don't play that much Dota anymore, to be honest with you.
Wasn't also Power Rangers slightly inspired by that Kamen Rider show?
Kamen Rider.
It was a Japanese
yes.
show about a dude on a motorcycle. I vaguely remember it.
Yeah, like so it wasn't actually even called Power Rangers in Japan, and it was basically a ripoff. Well, I mean, like Power Rangers in general just kind of fits the traditional Japanese super. Yeah, it like Power Rangers is like an amalgamation of like the traditional Japanese superhero, which is like, you know, tight-fitting spandex,
Sure.
but like kind of weird, like the same as American with the tight-fitting spandex, but they all kind of look similar and they all kind of have the same kind of powers. So it's kind of like an amalgamation of all that stuff. But the thing is, the originals. The other thing about totally. The other thing about the original Power Rangers, though, is when you go back, it's really easy to tell which shots are literally just they're just taken from the Japanese show, and which shots are reshot in America to try to make some sort of a comprehensive story, which they don't achieve. They do not achieve at all.
It's incredible how little of the Japanese culture was assimilated into our own at the time that Power Rangers was so pervasive. Like, they could get away with so much because we just had absolutely no fucking idea about anything about Japanese culture. I mean, the vast majority of the people that would know about Power Rangers anyway.
I mean, like, if you had asked me even several years after I watched Power Rangers, I wouldn't even say it. It would be easy to tell that it has Japanese influences even. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't, it's not really, unless you really understand or have seen, like, Japanese superheroes, it doesn't really look Japanese, except for, like the ridiculous poses and stuff. But
Gotcha.
Beyond that, yeah, it's interesting. Interesting stuff.
Were there any big moments in Power Rangers that were, like, a big deal? Because I know that eventually they started doing, like, the Megazords with, like, crazy Animal Force, and I think they went to space at some point.
Mm-hmm. Power Rangers in space was actually pretty cool.
Was it? Do you know much about that period in time?
Yeah, I watched up to, I think, up to space, and then I think the next one that they did, because like the up until space, it was all like one story,
right?
And technically, because I had to watch it with I had to watch the newer ones with my little brother when he was growing up because he liked it. And technically, all of the Power Rangers are in the same universe, but after space, it's not like one continuous story.
Yeah, I got a real like X-Men vibe from the way that they split everything in that. It seemed like all of a sudden they went in a lot of strange directions that had nothing to do with the actual show anymore.
Yeah, they really
just like,
did.
How can we market this better?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically. Pretty much that's exactly what happened. Well, I think part of it, too, was I think the Japanese show just stopped, so they had to make up their own shit.
Oh.
After a point. Yeah, like
the
Japanese... Yeah, so like they didn't really have that crutch to lean on, and then they just had to make up their own kind of stuff. But technically, it's all in the same universe, because like in Dino Thunder, Tommy, Tommy, the former White and Green Ranger, comes back, and he talks about being a former Ranger or whatever. So
wow,
like technically, it's in the same universe, but it gets weird because like some of the later ones, like the Power Rangers are made by man.
What?
Instead of, like, Zordon? Yeah.
How can a man make a Power Ranger?
I don't know. It's weird.
That's wild.
Originally, the Power Rangers were invented by a fucking wizard trapped in a time warp, whatever that means.
It means a lot to me.
Yeah. Zordon
really.
is a man trapped in a time warp.
Oh my god, the Doctor Who spin-off would be the greatest of all time. Zordon is Doctor Who.
Except, like, the Doctor would probably really hate the Power Rangers because they kill all of their enemies. Like, every
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
episode, they kill someone new. And, like, the Doctor would not be down with that. He'd probably try to stop the Power Rangers, to
Dude,
be honest with
that
you.
would be
He'd
the
probably just try
twist. That would be why it's
That
such
would
a
be
good
cool.
show, because he fucking hates them, but he's got to command them because I don't know why, but they'll figure out a reason. And he just wants to stop them, but he hates it every single time he sends them on a mission, and he betrays his very core of being.
That would be cool. I'd watch that.
Greatest Doctor Who fanfic ever written.
No one Zordon should have all that Ranger. I feel like Nick and Robert just sitting and talking stealth pong grips on stream right now. I just gotta talk like this. I don't really need marijuana to do it.
No, we're not. I'm not even drinking. I'm just being a dumbass.
Yeah. Space Power Rangers were the best because they had Ninja Turtles. Okay, actually, what's funny about space? Here's the one
Tell me what's
that's
funny
funny
about
about
space.
space. Okay, so the funny thing about space is, one, they had the Red Ranger in space was an alien, but he totally just looked like a human. Except, here's what made him alien: he had long hair, and part of it was dyed blonde.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
You
that's
can't
what made
just
him
do
an
that.
alien. That's like a Vulcan.
That's Star Trek
Just
rules.
give him pointy ears. Yeah, just give him some pointy ears. That's an alien.
We don't
Fuck
have a
it.
prop budget, basically, or we don't have a makeup budget.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yeah. So that's what he was. I know, but that's not actually the funny thing that I was gonna say. The funny thing is the Red Ranger eventually gets this like glider thing that kind of like the Green Goblin in Spider-Man.
I thought it was a pterodactyl.
You know what I'm talking about? what the Green Goblin rides?
No, the Ranger. I thought he eventually gets a pterodactyl to ride on.
No, that's the Pink Ranger in Mighty Morphin.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I don't remember very well.
That's all right. But yeah, in space, he gets like a little glider, and that shit can travel faster than light.
What?
Like he just flies around. Yeah, he doesn't. He's not even in a ship. He just flies around in space on that glider all the time.
He should
like,
hang
all
out
the
with
time.
Silver Surfer.
Yeah, he's basically Silver Surfer.
He's the only one that can
Like, he
keep
gets
up.
that power. Yeah.
They could go explore
It's
new
crazy.
planets and like conquer the world with their Power Ranger powers.
Yeah. I'd watch that show too. I read a comic that was a Doctor Who Star Trek crossover, and it was really good.
Yeah, that seems like it would make sense.
It's legitimately really good.
It's not for me, but I think it's probably fine.
Yeah, you should watch Star Trek.
I know.
It's actually a really good show.
You tell me a lot.
Yeah.
See, like with Doctor Who, I had no knowledge of really what that show was, so I was pretty susceptible to liking it. But with Star Trek, I've seen a little bit, and I just kind of find it boring. And, I mean, I don't mean to insult
well,
people who like it, because I know many people like it. It's just, I just personally kind of find it a little boring.
No, that's one, that's totally fair, and two, I felt the same way before I started watching it.
Right.
And then after I started watching it, like once you find the episode that you like, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is pretty good actually. I'd be interested to see more, and then you're just kind of hooked. And I would suggest even starting a little bit, like learning the characters on Next. Basically, what I did is I always kind of knew the characters on Next Generation because, you know, I was kind of young enough where they would play reruns on TV of Next Generation.
Uh-huh.
And that one is like easier to consume because it's a little bit more modern. Still corny, but a little bit more modern. But then going back, I went and I watched some original Star Trek, and I honestly think the original series is just a better show. It's more focused. Like, the Next Generation is an ensemble thing, which you might like if you like Game of Thrones, because that's really an ensemble show where it's just a lot of characters, different stories, progressing their type of thing. But the original series is just basically just three characters, pretty much. Like, the other characters are kind of tertiary. And it's kind of just... And it's just kind of exploring Spock, who is pretty much a superhero in the original series. They changed the Vulcans later on to make them a bit more realistic or believable, but in the original series, he's just kind of a superhero. Like, he just kind of can do whatever he needs at the time. Yeah.
I don't know. I also might just have, like, personality defects, because I know most people say, like, Star Trek's the greatest thing ever made. And I also don't really like Star Wars very much, which I think makes me an asshole.
Yeah, that kind of does.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
okay.
if you don't like, that's like both sides of the coin. Like Star Wars is like popcorn action stuff with depth like layered inside, whereas like Star Trek is like depth and interesting science fiction
Right.
stories that kind of talk about like what's happening in the world with some like corny visual effects and
Yeah,
stuff.
there's probably just something really wrong with me. I should probably see a therapist.
Maybe you don't like space stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I like some of it though. I don't know why I don't like the things that everybody else likes. See, that's the thing. I'm probably just like an elitist or like a hipster or something.
Maybe. I don't know. I understand not liking Star Trek though. I totally understand that one, like for sure. Because I didn't either. Like until I started watching it. And there's a lot of really good episodes. There's a really good. Also, you have to consider with Star Trek, it was a really progressive show at the time.
Sure.
Like it was the first show to ever actually have an interracial kiss,
That's good.
which is pretty interesting. And
I,
then
yeah,
and then the other thing is like Kirk. What's great about the original series is I'm not kidding. The plot line of maybe 80% of the episode is, oh, there's some like dire problem that's happening and it's crazy and like out of our control. And Captain Kirk's solution is, I'm just gonna fuck my way out of this problem.
I know.
And it's great. It's so good. He just fucks all his problems away.
I mean, that's a great moral and everything, but like, I don't know if I like the character enough to care if he fucks his way out of all of his problems.
Prisoner number 6. You're actually wrong. They never kiss in I Love Lucy. In fact, they so much were they
Separate beds.
yeah, they had separate beds in that show. They didn't kiss in that show. They also couldn't talk about pants. So
It was
yes,
a weird
they were.
time.
Yeah, they were they were an interracial couple, but they never kissed. The first kiss was Captain Kirk and Uhura, and they actually even had so that it wasn't like so that it wasn't terrible or like not terrible, but like it didn't
As
make
controversial.
audience at the time throw up in controversy. Yeah, like I think Captain Kirk or Uhura, I forget what happens in the episode, but like one of them is like under a spell or something basically,
Oh, so they can have an
and they kind of like
excuse. Wow.
yeah, exactly. So it's like forced, and it's not because they actually like each other. It's because
Which is kind of controversial in a different direction.
yeah. I mean, it would be totally like yeah.
God,
If if
imagine
that's the
that they
reasoning
could make
now.
jokes or references to rape easier than they could about two people of a different race kissing each other.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fucked up.
Well, but like I said, the original series has a bunch of really cool stuff that it does. Like there's a whole episode that's actually really really cool, and I'm gonna spoil this episode actually
Wow.
because otherwise I can't really talk about it.
Spoilers.
But like yeah, I'm gonna spoil it. I'm just if you want a single episode of the original series not spoiled, then I guess I don't know. Don't listen to me speak right now. But basically, there's an episode where the Enterprise encounters this alien race. And this is what I mean by like
It's the
science
Borg.
fiction stories that are not necessarily realistic or something that you could see, but it's just talking about something. Like
Exterminate.
it's just an art thing to talk about something that's going on. And basically, it's they meet an alien race that their skin is divided down the center, and one side is black and one side is white.
Shit.
Right?
So
And
that's just
they encounter
directly
him-
them talking about segregation.
Exactly, yeah. And one side is black, one side is white, and the guy's like freaking out. It's like, you gotta help me. You gotta help me. I've been chasing this guy for 1,000 years, and
It's a long time.
and you gotta help me. And then they get the other guy on board, and he's the same thing, right? One side is black and one side is white. And he's like, yeah, my people have been at war with them for thousands of years, and I've been chasing this one guy for 1,000 years, trying to catch him or whatever. And they're like, they even say in the show, like, why? Like, what? What's
Why?
you guys look
What are you
look
doing?
the same. Yeah, he's like, you guys look the same,
Stop.
and they're like, no, don't you see that his left side is black and my left side is white? We're completely different. And then they get back to their world eventually after the Enterprise tries to stop them from fighting, and their world has been completely destroyed. Like like their war
Wow.
between over stupid racial nonsense completely destroyed their world, and in the end, they end up getting on the planet and not even caring. They're so focused on how much they hate the other race that they keep chasing each other across the planet, their destroyed homeworld, where they're the last two people alive.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Racism
It's a really
sucks.
good episode. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, actually, The Virus. Yeah, I watched it all on Netflix as well, and it's great because it's actually remastered. So some of the corny special effects are reworked to be purposely corny, but also like CG and kind of cool.
Weird.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really good. It's a really good show.
I say this every time, but I have no idea how people break into Star Trek. There's like 1,000 series of it, and I don't know what like any of it means.
Yeah, the other series aren't good. Like the only ones that are good are like the original series and Next Generation. I just recently watched through all of Voyager, and it's fine, but it's not.
People always say to watch like Battlestar Galactica. I just don't think I'm into sci-fi like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
I hear that stuff and I'm
Battlestar
like,
Galactica
I don't
is
know.
good.
I just can't. I can't do it for some reason. I just hear that and it just doesn't sound interesting to me.
Battlestar Galactica is really good. Battlestar Galactica is like good Star Trek Voyager, basically.
It's just when I think of that, all I think about is like a space soap opera. Just people standing in ship rooms talking to each other. And I know that's not what happens, but it just seems like that is what happens to me.
Well, you know, there is a reason it's called a space opera,
Oh yeah.
but
It's not because of the opera
yeah,
singing, is it?
there's a lot of opera singing in Battlestar
Oh,
Galactica.
damn it.
Battlestar Galactica is more about morality and sort of internal, sort of looking at yourself and what you would do in a compromising situation, and it's sort of weighing like utilitarianism versus you know, traditional morality of like, hey, we shouldn't kill these people, or hey, we should. And then it's also eventually it kind of talks about like what is sentience, you know, like what makes us
Right.
people, or like why do we say like, okay, this and this and this and this are what makes us human and sentient and real beings, and then saying like, well, is that fair, or is that like dogmatic, or are there other ways to really describe it and stuff, and yeah. So
I would kind of like to have those discussions directly. Like, I don't feel like I need to have this artificial drama stuff surrounding it. Like, the whole thing about how when you go through a teleporter in the Star Trek universe, how it, like, kills you and makes a new you. Like, that conversation is way more interesting to me than the actual show. I would rather just listen to people debate that concept instead of just watch a show about it.
Yeah, well, you know, that's fair. I like when television shows and stuff kind of phrase philosophical discussions in an artistic form that's easier to consume for someone who's not willing to really just like listen to a lecture, basically, you know.
Right.
And,
so what's
not
wrong
only
with me?
that,
Because I'd rather listen to the lecture.
No, I mean that's fine too. Like they're people like different things, you know, and different ways to learn and stuff. I'm always kind of, and now granted, like I've learned film and I wanted to do film and stuff, so like, you know, I'm kind of biased here, but I'm always a fan of finding interesting, intriguing, and creative ways to talk about something without actually talking about it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I just come from it from a different place, I guess, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Bacon, yeah. The Battlestar Galactica is great. Yeah, it really is. This person has never had an interest in doing so beforehand. Oh, dude, yeah, you should go, if you never watched it, watch Battlestar Galactica. What I'll tell you is you do kinda wanna. I think it's almost like any show, really, but like especially with Battlestar Galactica, like make sure you give it a chance. That's a lot of episodes. Like, even if you're not liking it, like 3 or 4 or 5 episodes in, keep watching, because then you'll get into it. But like my experience with Battlestar Galactica is I watched the first like 3 or 4 episodes like 8 times, and I never got into it. And then one time I decided to keep going, and it's you know, interesting stuff. So, yeah, it's cool. Playing Strange New Worlds, No Man Has Been Before, Nick, it sounds like you. Yeah.
Doctor Who grabbed me in like one episode, which is the thing that totally took me off guard because I just was so confused about why I didn't like it after that. Like I guess I didn't say I didn't like it, but it's just like I didn't want to watch it, and then I'm like, okay, I get this. This makes sense. I'm into it.
Right. I mean, me, the opposite. Like, I didn't like it. I mean, I liked it. Like, when I watched the first episode of Doctor Who, because I watched it when I was in Florida, when I was stuck down in Florida with Dennis because Hurricane Sandy was happening, and we were like, hey, we both heard a lot of things about Doctor Who. We could just give it a chance, right, and see what it's like. And we both watched the first episode, and we were like, yeah, okay, I could see where this could go, and it could be cool. And then we watched a couple more episodes while we were down there, and we were just kind of, you know, like, on it. And then a week later, once we got back to New York, I was like, hey, I started watching more Doctor Who, and he's like, yeah, I'm already into the 3rd season.
Nice.
So it's like, that's what was happening with Doctor Who for me. But yeah.
I wonder if I would have liked it more or less if I watched it with another person, because then I would have had all these great conversations about it as I was watching it.
Yeah. Doctor Who is great, and it's totally different from, like, a Star Trek. In that, like, Doctor Who sort of totally embraces the Monster of the Week kind of concept, and it's less about, well, at least the more recent stuff. Well, it's not great to say this on like a total scale. Like, obviously, the thing about the Monster of the Week style is that you can change it whenever, right? Like, you can be like, hey, I'm going to use the science fiction in this episode to talk about a thing, or I'm going to use the science fiction in this episode to you know, to kind of sit behind while characters discuss or come to terms with a philosophical concept rather than using the actual events or monster to describe that. And that's cool. That's what Doctor Who gets to do. But like at least the original series of Star Trek it's all about like, hey, this episode, like what happens in this episode is just, we're going to tell you about a thing that's kind of shitty, and I know you don't want to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it, but we're going to frame it with the science fiction stuff that you can kind of just consume anyway. You know? Mm-hmm. And that's sort of the thing with that. And that's also why that's why I say the original series is better than the Next Generation, is because they kind of strayed away from that kind of thing in Next Generation a little bit and went a little bit more on the, hey, science is cool. And it is, but it was less about like, hey, I want to talk about something that's difficult to talk about, and more like, hey, this is kind of cool kind of thing.
Somebody asked, what is the Monster of the Week exactly? Like, I mean, I have a loose concept, but I'm sure you could do a better job explaining it.
So, yeah, like when I say Monster of the Week, it's sort of like a catch-all type of term, but basically it's like Doctor Who, if you were to watch episode 6 of season 2, pretty much you can get what's happening, right? Like, yeah, there's a relationship between the Doctor and his companion, but it's not terribly important towards progressing the overall story arc until you get into the Stephen Moffat era, in which the overall story arc becomes more important, which also is why I kind of don't like it as much.
And no, you don't have to know what that episode was, in case you're wondering.
Right, yeah. So you don't really like the Monster of the Week is just sort of like, this episode is encapsulated in and of itself. You can watch it without having watched any other ones, and you know, it just sort of, it's a new thing that the characters have to tackle, and you can watch them out of order, and that's fine. Unlike a show like Breaking Bad, where every episode is a progression of the overall story arc, right? Where, you know, you just see how all these things progress. If you miss an episode of Breaking Bad, then you will have no idea what's happening in the episode after that, right? Like, you have to watch the last one. Same with Game of Thrones. But with, like, Doctor Who, you can kind of watch them out of order. And that's sort of the Monster of the Week kind of thing, especially since it's generally, and again, I'm talking about the new series, I'm talking about the most recent series, generally it's like, this is a new event to tackle, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the last event.
Well,
so
I hear you, and to some degree that's totally right, but at the same time there's a lot of instances where if you didn't know about some of the things they were talking about, when we get to this second or third time where we're attacked by the Cybermen, it wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, that one not as much though, because I
or the Daleks, for example, it doesn't have to be them.
Well, I agree with you for mostly, but especially with like Cybermen and Daleks and stuff. You never watched the original Doctor Who, right?
Yeah, but they framed it within its own narrative.
Right, exactly, and that's sort of what they do every time they kind of introduce them,
Do
and that's
they?
sort of the
I guess I haven't watched the whole
at least
series again, so maybe I just don't know.
at least with the new companions, he always has to kind of explain what they are and stuff. So I mean, it
Yeah.
kind of usually does it. But you're right in that some episodes don't fit the exact Monster of the Week
And
thing.
that's
But for
okay.
the
I
most
think it's
part,
good.
yeah,
It
and that's
mixes it
fine.
up.
Yeah, that's good. It makes it more interesting to watch. You always get something new to really experience. But for the most part, it kind of sticks to. And again, this isn't even really mostly talking about the Stephen Moffat era, because Stephen Moffat era kind of strays away from this a little bit. But it's mostly Monster of the Week. And it's the same for the original Star Trek, too. The original Star Trek is mostly Monster of the Week type of style, where it's, each event is tackled with the characters. In fact, it's so Monster of the Week, the original Star Trek series, in that, and they don't do this a lot anymore, and that's why I kind of appreciate Doctor Who. It's so much so that the first episode of Star Trek there's no origin story or anything. Like, you don't explain where the characters came from. They're just kind of on this ship, and that's the captain, and that's Spock, the first officer, and here's the situation that they get thrust into, and they have to deal with it. And that's just the thing. They don't really explain it. The first episode of The Next Generation, however, kind of brings in the characters, right? Like, it brings in Riker as the first officer, the Enterprise is leaving the station, and you're learning who Riker is and stuff like that, because it's more ensemble and less Monster of the Week. And so it kind of changes things. So yeah, but yeah, that's sort of what I mean when I say Monster of the Week.
I love the pacing in Doctor Who, how some episodes will start and it's just like, motherfucker, there's 1,000 things happening, catch up. And then it actually goes on to explain it. And it doesn't feel like even though you feel totally out of your depth at the very beginning, it's like, okay, actually they did it all intentionally, and a lot of times it's a misdirection and it's cleverly done, and it's usually because they're pulling over some kind of magic trick in front of you and you need to pay attention, but you don't have to pay total attention.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't make you feel like an idiot, which is great. I love that British television doesn't make you feel like an idiot the way American television does most of the time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are obviously some shows that don't do that, but yeah, it's for general. I mean, it helps that like BBC is like basically run by the state, and so it's sort of like Nintendo seal of approval type of thing.
Sure.
But my views on Twilight Zone is a fantastic show, one of the greatest television shows ever made. If not, and it could easily be an argument for being the greatest television show ever made. Rod Serling was a fucking genius, and I mean, Twilight Zone is just amazing.
I think it's British.
And yeah, no, not the Captain Pike episode. The Captain Pike episode is sort of like almost not canon, because it has Spock in that show, and at that point in that episode, Spock, like, he laughs and he smiles and stuff. So like, Vulcans don't have they don't have the no emotions thing going on. So it's almost not canon, but it kind of is. It was just a pilot that they shot for NBC to be like, hey, I have an idea. Check out what it could look like. And they were like, hey, recast the captain and make him less mopey. Because like the thing with Captain Pike because like in the first scene, because in the first scene with Captain Pike in that pilot, he's like, he's talking to his doctor, and he's like, I don't know, I don't want to be a captain anymore, Doc. I don't know what to do. I don't feel comfortable choosing who gets to live and who gets to die. And I send them away on away missions, I'm basically
check their shirt.
So I've ordered people to die. Yeah, right, exactly.
That's all you got to do. It's an easy decision.
Yeah, and NBC was like, yeah, okay, like that's cool, but it's a little bit too dark for network television, so don't do that.
Where do you see network television in 20 years?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, even Star Trek was kind of important towards that, because later on, Kirk kind of feels the same things. I think it even happens almost exactly the same way in an episode. And but like at first, they were like, hey, yeah, you probably shouldn't introduce the character as like he hates his life and wants to kill himself. Like, it's not
too mopey.
It's not good for network television. Yeah. Thoughts on Farscape or Stargate? I watched Farscape when I was younger. My dad was really into it. I never really went back to it. I remember it being all right.
I mean, as far as I knew, Stargate was just that corny movie that came out in the 90s that was like, wow, that's a lot of really cool effects, and then people kept talking about it for the next 20 years, and I don't understand why. That's as far as I know about it. Yeah, but like I don't understand what about it was compelling enough that made people still interested in that property, because it seemed just like a silly, corny thing. But
it's like it's the same kind of Doctor Who kind of thing. That's what made it exciting. Is because because it's framed in a Monster of the Week type of fashion too. Which I think, I mean, I didn't watch too much of the show, but I think it's framed as if it's gonna be a Monster of the Week type of show, and then it's not really, because the whole idea is like, you just take the Stargate to some random place. Same with like what's it called? That one show with Scott Bakula, Quantum Leap, where it's like. Yeah, like that one also, like Quantum Leap is pretty much just Doctor Who, except, kind of not.
Yeah, more Scott Bakula.
Right, yeah, and more Scott Bakula, pretty much.
I really like saying that.
Yeah, it's a good name.
Very good
Alfred
name.
Hitchcock Presents is really good, too. Yeah, like when they started the episode of Love Monsters, is the one with the absorbing monster. Yeah, issue with the X-Files, was that I never really watched X-Files. Spock is half human. Spock is only half human because, okay, so I talked about this actually on the Star Trek subreddit because someone was asking like, hey, so they talk about how Vulcans can experience emotion, they just suppress them, but like, why does X, Y, and Z happen in Next Generation, in episode blah blah blah, whatever? And like a lot of people were like, well, they explain that Vulcans have the blah blah, and then they do all this stuff, and like I sort of responded like, okay. Like, all those reasons are valid, and they're set up with lore, and that's fine. But really, the reason that Vulcans have, emotions and they're repressing them is because they, like, Gene Roddenberry didn't really know what Vulcans were at the time. Like, he just kind of was making that shit up on the go. Like, they kind of evolved over the course of the show. In fact, it pretty much seems like he was intending that Vulcans literally, genetically couldn't have emotions, and the only reason that Spock was half human was so that he could relate to human emotion, and then you could tell that he's kind of having emotion at times. But genetically, he's supposed to not have emotions, but eventually they kind of changed that so that Vulcans actually do have emotions, because it's kind of silly to assume that emotions are gene-based or, like, hereditary or something.
It's really weird how people don't seem to be able to be comfortable with the idea that a concept evolves. Like, it always has to be written in stone from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it doesn't seem that way, we go through great lengths to not have that exist. We just want to make it happen.
Yeah, we want to believe that there was some grand plan in place. Like when they started, like the first Star Wars was Episode 4, and like people thought like, oh yeah, he totally knows exactly what happened in Episode 1 to 3.
Bullshit.
Like, no, he did not at all. He fucking was just making that shit up on the fly. Like no, he didn't. He didn't know. And it's also, keep in mind, it's George fucking Lucas. The man's, first and foremost, he's a businessman, and he knows how to make money, and you just added more mystery and stuff. Also, it's like, it was partly because Star Wars was inspired by Flash Gordon, so he wanted to make it episodic so that you really got the idea, hey, this is like Flash Gordon, Like, even all of the transitions in Star Wars are literally the same exact transitions from Flash Gordon. So
I think George Lucas is the ultimate example of a Peter Molyneux character, where like he had so much hype that it lasted for most of his life based on one thing, and it took till now for it to start crashing down again.
Yeah. Granted, he also was instrumental in Indiana Jones as well, so it wasn't just Star Wars, but yeah. And then also, like, actually the movie that he directed before he made Star Wars was, and also, by the way, George Lucas didn't direct any of the original Star Wars, but the movie, or write it, actually, like, he was a writer in the sense that he had the idea outlined for the story, and he told the writers what the character should be doing, but he didn't like directly write the screenplay or anything. But anyway, the movie that he directed before Star Wars, American Graffiti, is actually really good, and Harrison Ford's in it too, and he's great in it. Harrison Ford drives this sweet muscle car and has a Yeah, and he's always wearing like a cowboy hat, and he just always goes for street races and stuff. It's kind of like Dazed and Confused before Dazed and Confused.
Oh, I love
It's
that
really
movie.
good. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, Flash. Master of the Universe. Talk about the Worf effect. It's always interesting to talk about the Worf effect.
What's that?
Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe he's talking about how Worf appears in, like, he appears twice over the course of, like, 100 years, and they're two different characters, but it's played by the same actor and has the same name, and they're completely different.
This is a Star Trek reference.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Okay, I didn't even know what Worf was at all.
Worf is a Klingon that is a crew member on the Enterprise in the Next Generation, but he also appears in Star Trek V, I think, one of the movies, which takes place like 100 years earlier, basically.
Okay.
And he's played by the same actor. Both characters are called Worf. I think they explained it canonically by saying that that's like Worf's grandfather or something.
Okay.
Yeah. George Lucas did not direct the original Star Wars. Here, look. Let me see. Let me go on IMDb.
Jesus
He produced
Christ,
all
I've been
of them.
drawing this for like almost 2.5 hours.
All right. Oh, you know what? I think he might have directed the third one, but I don't think he directed any of the other ones.
Oh, that was
No,
my neck.
he didn't. He didn't even direct the third one. That was directed by Richard Marquand. Let's see. Who directed the other ones? Star Wars 5 was directed by Irvin Kershner. And Star Wars 4, which is, I guess, New Hope.
I really think
A New Hope. Okay, A New Hope was directed by George Lucas. The original was directed by George Lucas, but he didn't direct the other ones. I thought he directed one of them, but I forgot. It's how Worf is the strongest member of the crew, but gets tossed around like a sack of potatoes to show bad guy strength. Okay, yeah, it's actually kind of fucked up. Like, I felt like the show was a little bit, just a little bit racist in Next Generation, in that Worf's stuff is always shot down and he always fails. It's kind of like Vegeta. I always feel so bad for Vegeta, because it's always like, oh, I got this new power and I shall save the world now. This is it. This is the time that it's gonna happen. And then like Goku's like, oh, hey Vegeta, were you got real strong, huh? I got like 3 times as strong.